W. Edwards Deming said, blame the process, not the people. You've made it to the final lesson in the course. You've covered a great deal of ground. You now understand why the 5 whys fail in complex systems, how cognitive bias turns blame into something that feels like insight, and why fear-based accountability damages learning, reliability, and trust. You also now have better tools, better questions, better investigative frameworks, and a defensible model of accountability that does not rely on blame. The remaining question is simple and practical. What do you do Monday morning? Culture doesn't change through declarations. It changes through repeated behavior. This lesson gives you a concrete, low-risk plan for starting that behavior immediately. You start with your own language. Before you attempt to change anyone else, change the questions you ask. The next time something goes wrong in your area, replace every why with how. Instead of, why did this happen? Ask, how did this happen? Instead of, why didn't you follow the procedure? Ask, how did the work unfold? Notice the difference in the answers that you receive, because then you're going to hear more context, more constraints, and more system detail, often without even having to ask follow-up questions. You need to experience that first. Second, apply the substitution test to the next incident you encounter. Ask yourself, would another competent person in the same situation with the same information and pressures likely have made the same decision? If the answer is yes, you know you're not looking at an individual failure. You're looking at a system condition. That single question can permanently change how you interpret incidents. And third, share one idea from this course with one colleague. Not the entire framework, just one idea. The difference between first stories and second stories. The cost of repeat failures. The substitution test. Your goal is to start a conversation, not launch a program. Change spreads through conversation. So here are 3 that consistently lower resistance. You might be talking to a peer. You could say, I've noticed we keep seeing the same category of issues across different teams. I've been reading about how some organizations investigate failures differently and the results are interesting. Maybe with a direct report. The next time something goes wrong, I want to try something different. I'm going to ask you to walk me through what happened step by step without judgment. I'm interested in the conditions, not the blame. With the manager, you could say, I've been looking at our repeat incident data. We keep finding people, but the same failures recur. I think there might be a way to get better information out of our investigations. You might say, could I run a pilot on the next one? Each of these frames the shift as practical, evidence-based, and low risk. You're not asking for philosophical buy-in. You're asking to try one better conversation. For the next 30 days, for week 1, you could change your own questions. Practice how instead of why. Apply the substitution test privately. Observe how your understanding of incidents changes. For week 2, you might have one of the conversations. Just share one concept with one person, hear what they have to say, identify who is curious rather than defensive. Don't push the matter. For week 3, propose a pilot. On the next incident in your area, ask to facilitate or co-facilitate a blameless review using the post-mortem structure from the lessons and document the findings. On week 4, share the results. Show the difference in depth, the system conditions uncovered, and the quality of corrective actions generated. Let the comparison speak for itself. 30 days, 4 steps, no mandate required. If you want to deepen this work, return to the sources behind the course. Sidney Decker's The Field Guide to Understanding Human Error remains the best entry point for reframing failure and human performance. Decker's Just Culture, Balancing Safety and Accountability provides a structure for accountability without fear. Todd Conklin's Pre-Accident Investigations focuses on better questions and practical application. Nancy Levison's Engineering a Safer World explains in rigorous detail why linear causality fails in complex systems. W. Edwards Deming's Out of the Crisis contains the management philosophy underlying all of this work. Drive out fear and improve the system. John Alspaugh's writing on the infinite hows and blame as postmortems translate safety science into everyday operational practice. So dig into any of those to let yourself dive deeper into understanding the things you've learned in this course. You started this course knowing that something about the way organizations investigate failure was off, but now you know what it is, why it persists, and what to do instead. Contextually, the 5 whys isn't a bad tool. It's just a limited tool that has been applied without limits. In complex systems involving human beings, it reliably produces blame disguised as analyses. Better questions produce better answers. Simple as that. Better answers produce systemic fixes. Systemic fixes prevent categories of failure, not just individual incidents. So stop asking why and start asking how. Thank you for taking this course.